manifesting your spirit. Yes, yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Let's talk about manifesting. So, what is manifesting? My channel is Knitting and Manifesting. In order to understand manifestation, you first have to know about the law of assumption. The law of assumption rests on a singular construct that declares imagination is the only reality. Imagination is causation. The imagination is the cause of the phenomena of life. What does that mean? It means everything that exists originates from the imagination. It says the law of assumption declares that everything is finished, creation is finished, perfected, and completed, and everything exists in the nowness of consciousness. And because everything already exists, we attract and we move through a host of realities based on our state of consciousness, which is always in motion. The law of assumption also maintains that life arranges itself to conform to the imaginal assumptions you hold in your mind and repeat to yourself. So whatever you assume to be true, whatever you feel to be true, whatever you speak to be true will advance into the future and be reconstructed in your reality as an accomplished fact. Now, this might sound like the law of attraction, but it is not the law of attraction. The law of assumption is a primary law. The law of attraction is a secondary law based on the law of vibration. Some of you are familiar with the law of attraction, which was popularized by the epic film titled The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. This film was introduced into the world's consciousness at a time when it was needed. It seemed as if people were seeking for greater fulfillment, greater expressions of their transcendent selves, and that film came and satisfied much and many of those curiosities. The entire premise of the law of attraction, however, is if you think a certain way, if you think certain thoughts, you will attract certain results in your life. Therefore, by thinking, you attract. The law of assumption does not hold that idea. The law of assumption says that because you are already perfected and completed, you magnetize perfection, you magnetize completion, because you live in the state of completion in the nowness of consciousness. Because creation is finished, there's no need to seek after. There's no need to worry about how something will materialize in your reality. All you have to do is see your wish fulfilled. Live in the end from your wish fulfilled. See that your definite chief aim, dreams, and ambitions are already complete. And you live in that state of completion, and you will magnetize complete outcomes, perfected results. The law of assumption says that you don't have to obsess about what your thoughts are, what's happening with your thoughts. Are you going to say the wrong thing? Are you going to speak the wrong thing? Are you going to think the wrong thing? The law of assumption does not obsess about those things. The law of assumption says, listen, live in your perfected state. Live in your completed state. And as you live in your completed state, the vision will materialize in its time. Persist in believing that you are complete. Persist in believing that you don't need anything or anyone to fulfill you or complete you. If you live in that ideal state, you will naturally draw. In fact, the universe will create bridges of incidents that will naturally magnetize those already perfected, those already completed outcome results and effects into your reality, because the imagination is causation. The imagination is completion. It is perfection. Here's a recapture of my life. Here's a practical example from my own experience as it relates to the law of assumption, as it relates to manifestation, imagination as causation. At one point in my life, things were so tough financially. And when I say at one point, I'm talking about not too long ago. So my family consists of 6 members, 2 adults, well, 6 adults now. Early on, of course, the kids grew older, and it was my wife and myself and our 4 children. And some of you are familiar with my daughters who are fiber artists. As I was saying, things were so stressfully, financially difficult. I mean, impossibly difficult. According to government metrics, we lived in absolute poverty. Now, to an outsider, it didn't look like that because we lived in a home, in a nice neighborhood. Our kids were kept well kept. Their needs were provided for. They engaged in extracurricular, scholastic, and sports activities. And to others, things were great. But I saw my finances, I saw my tax returns. And for a family of 6, we lived below the poverty line. Now, let me explain this. Let me make this clear. We never went hungry. We were never homeless in the sense of, getting kicked out of our place. Nothing like that. We lived in, once again, a great community surrounded by great friends. But we struggled financially. We had no credit card debt. In fact, we had no credit cards. The only debt we had were student loans. And we had those on deferment. So we weren't like in any strict timeline or had to make any obligatory payments. The problem was we weren't making enough money. For a family of 6, you need a lot of money. Food is the largest cost in a large family. And for those of you who come from a large family, you understand that. So once again, the poverty and the financial struggles that we had were not outwardly present because we did things, we engaged in activities, our needs were provided for, but everything was stretched thin. Every dollar was stretched to its maximum capacity. And the truth is, we did not know how the bills were going to get paid. And to compound the situation, the financial difficulty, we had this broken down vehicle that constantly had to be fixed. Something was always wrong with it. Now, it was an older vehicle. It was a Dodge Caravan. The body was impeccable. I don't know how the body lasted and stayed looking that nice. But the engine and transmission always gave out, and we were stranded on the road several times. So that added to our struggles. The vehicle was paid for, which helped somewhat. So here's better context. Let me give you guys some numbers so you can have a better understanding of the struggles that we faced. And I'm not here to highlight the struggles. I'm here to recount the struggles and how we moved from struggling to being financially in a much better place, a 7-figure, much better place, using the law of assumption. So a family of 6, our combined household income never exceeded $50,000. And I have my tax return as proof. Like literally our best years, we made 30,000, high 20 some thousand. And granted, my wife and I are not lazy people. I held 3 jobs. I had my primary job and I had side gigs. I was a bassist at 2 different churches. I played for some popular gospel artists. My wife had her own gig as a licensed therapist, which means that she has a graduate degree. So you have to understand this. Living in certain parts of the United States of America, the starting income, regardless of your educational classification, can be quite low. So our struggles consisted mostly because we did not have the money to meet our household obligations. And once again, we did not live in extravagant lives. We weren't into these brand name clothing or anything like that. I mean, we shopped at Walmart, and of course, my kids had their Nikes and their this and their that, but no one bought, $1,000 handbag or $100 shoes, nothing like that. We lived simple lives, but we could not find a way to shake why we were struggling that much. That's until we started practicing manifestation based on the law of assumption. Once we started practicing manifestation, outcomes, events, experiences, results, effects in our lives changed immediately. Why the sudden change? Why the immediate change? That became possible because we saw ourselves living in total well being, wealth, happiness, love, success, and prosperity. And some of you might be wondering, so what exactly did you do? Did you do anything? Yes, we persisted in the state of completion. We persisted in the state of perfection. We believed that what we desired, our wants, our wishes, our ambitions, our dreams, our goals, our aspirations, we believed those things already existed, and all we had to do was persist. Persist in the feeling and belief of completion. That's manifestation. So we did not have to do anything in the physical sense in the objective world. We literally had to change within, change our mindset within. What we did was abide in the imaginal assumption of completion. When you abide in the imaginal assumption of completion, the world will unfold beautifully before you. I have much more to say and much more that I'll capture on later episodes. Until then, remember, whatever follows I am, you become. Peace.